Okay, guys, good morning. It is Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. It is 8:17 a.m. in the morning under 43 degree skies, 43 degrees skies. It's a little foggy, but it's supposed to clear up, and hopefully we will be getting some sun today, because it's been one of those situations to where when you have weather accumulate, snow and all that in certain areas where you live, like mostly the hills and in the mountains, that does kind of affect certain parts of where you live, like in my case, the Central Valley. But be that as it may, before I get started here, I'd like to ask you guys to do me a solid favor, and that's like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Also, guys, you can click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere. If you like listening to a podcast, you can find me at all your favorite audio video podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and to an extent, SiriusXM. You can also find me at other video outlets like Rumble.com, Dailymotion.com, Odyssey.com, and VENMO.com. I'm also on DeviantArt as well. I'm also on DeviantArt at BVW1979. I'm at inkbunny.net at inkbunny.net at BWRoses. And you can also find me for Affiniate Day at BW1979. Now, I also have a Patreon, like I alluded to in the update yesterday. That's probably going to get utilized a lot more over the next couple of weeks, especially the Christmas season break. So check out for stuff that's going to be coming there real soon. I think you will enjoy it. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, you can find me at Cash App and Venmo. Trying to find the right words to say. I just woke up a little while ago, so I do apologize if I'm stumbling on the words a little bit. Still waking up. But you can find me also at Cash App and Venmo if you would like to help out there. I also have a Teespring and a Fourth Wall store. Fourth Wall store link is at the top. Teespring, of the description, I should say, and Teespring store is that link is at the bottom. If you want to check those two areas out for gifts and all that, for yourself, for family, or whatever, go ahead and do so. It helps me out tremendously. Also, guys, you can find other items at the affiliated stores that I will be attaching, with their items like Wayfair, Macy's, Kohl's, you name it. BK Beauty, you name it, wherever. You can find stuff there too. It helps you out through your gift shopping. It helps the store out, believe it or not, and it helps me out through various commissions. So if you want to do that too, it'd be greatly appreciated and everything. You can also follow me on social media at TikTok at BWRoses, Twitter, aka X.com at BWRoses, and Blue Sky at BWRoses. Also, during the live video premiere, guys, the live chat will be open if you want to chime in your thoughts and everything on what I have to say here. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you feel generous and in the mood, you can also donate through the SuperChats. SuperChats will be open if you want to come on in and donate something. It will really help me out during this time of year, especially with my gift shopping and everything. It would be tremendously helpful. Also, guys, if you're not here in time for the video premiere, if you will, and you still want to donate, Super Thanks will be open. That's the little heart with the dollar sign. Again, it would help me out tremendously, especially during this time of Christmas. It'll help me out in a big way. But mostly, if I want to have the money, if I want to get some Christmas shopping, finances, Christmas shopping money a little, sooner, Venmo and Cash App is the best way to go, as well as Patreon, but mostly Cash App and Venmo. And outside of that, guys, I'm trying to find the right words. Like I said, it's early. But outside of that, also comments. The comment section. That's what I was trying to get to. The comment section on this video for both the video premiere and afterwards will be open as well. But with that said, guys, let's get on to the topic at hand, shall we? Okay, guys. So yesterday, a little over 24 hours ago, we all woke up to a big, wonderful early Christmas gift from Xfinity. From Comcast, Xfinity, and regular broadcasting. And what we woke up to was the reveal that channel 1736 had been added, and that channel was the MeTV TOONS channel. That's right, MeTV TOONS, that's METVTOONS, MeTVToons, has been added. And we were all finally, like, just, shouting to the heavens, going like, thank you, Lord, thank you, about time. Finally, what took it so long? We're all, just celebrating in our way. We're all celebrating, like I said, praising the Lord above and thanking Him for finally getting it here, and even asking questions, even saying things like it's about time and finally, and even asking a question in a celebratory way of what took it so long, and stuff like that. So yeah, yesterday was a big deal. Early, like I mentioned in the description, a great early, Christmas gift, if you will, a great early Christmas gift. But what's interesting about it though is what kind of first day we had. Now, for the first several hours, it was fine. It was fine up until we got to the Huckleberry Hound show and the ending of that. After that, with the final segment of Yogi Bear, it started to kind of glitch. It started to kind of have some issues, and then it just went off, for quite some time. It even gave you the message of try again, or just letting it, fix itself, because the feed apparently couldn't be connected to. Now, there was various, thoughts going through a lot of our minds as to what's going on. A lot of us were blaming Xfinity, Comcast, because it's like, just when you think they're doing something nice for you, they decide to ruin it. It's like that old saying of, this is why we can't have nice things, But yeah, basically some people are thinking, it's Xfinity's fault, Comcast's fault for this happening, but others would state that it's not their fault, and that even the feed on Friendly TV, maybe not as long, but for a time also went out, for MeTVToons. So we can assume it had to be a glitch. Some would also, well, actually, a lot of people first assumed it could be a glitch that was affecting all the broadcast, all the feeds across cable and streaming, because of the new adjustment that it was having to make, being now part of Xfinity Comcast. A lot of people probably figured that's probably what it was, and it was affecting all the feeds, like I said, cable and streaming, and maybe even over the air to an extent. Others, like myself, kind of looked up, maybe, could there be other reasons? And I remembered that, the north, if you will, the northern part of the states, Illinois, Wisconsin, all them, we're going through some very cold weather. We're not even officially at winter yet, and everybody's dealing with some cold weather. Well, basically, long story short, that might have been part of the reason. The snow and all that, the storm or the system that was going through them, or through their areas, and all that, probably was, the reason. But then again, there's a third option, and that third option is maybe it's a combination of both. The weather didn't help things, and also at the same time they were going through some glitching, while trying to, work out the kinks and the bugs. Now, the first thing that went through my mind, and I mentioned this on Facebook, the first thing that went through my mind was that maybe what they were doing was trying to fix the issue to where instead of getting the Eastern time feed, like you would do with Friendly and Philo and DirecTV streaming and Dish Network streaming, that instead of getting the Eastern time feed, they were trying to fix it to where we would get our localized time feed. So instead of getting something from the East Coast, we get something that's supposed to be on at our time. This morning, at 7 a.m. and 7:30, here on the West Coast, we're supposed to get the real Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice. We're supposed to get those, right? We're supposed to get them. But I'll get to that in a moment. I'll get to that in a moment. Because basically, getting back to what I was saying, we figured, that might be the reason, right? That might be the reason. They're trying to fix the localization so that, the right shows air, at the right time in the certain time zones. But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case because yesterday or last night when I came back from grocery shopping, MeTV Toons was back on channel 1736. It was back on, so we were okay. We were fine. And the first thing I saw was, of course, season 8 of the Red Sky seasons of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think it was season 8 or 9, one of the two. But it was basically, those episodes. It was those episodes, if you will. Or at least one of them. It was called the Hypno Transmitter or something like that. Anyway, I know I said anyway a lot there. I do apologize. But to get to the point, that's the first thing I saw, and the first thing going through my mind is, okay, they obviously fixed it. Things are okay now. Things are cool. We're good to go. We're good to go. But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case, because I basically, after I helped put a lot of things away from the grocery shopping, I go to my room, I put on my MetaQuest, I go to the web page, and I notice that, when I check off the box for the Sacramento Modesto region, or the Fresno region, if you will, because here's the thing, here's what's interesting about my locale where I live. Even though we, from a cable perspective, we get, a lot of, we get basically the Stanislaus County stuff, like, Stanislaus County stuff. We get the, we get, like certain channels or certain amenities, stuff like that, right? Well, apparently our zip code here, doesn't reflect that. No, it doesn't reflect that at all. Instead, and I discovered this, before but way before Xfinity finally got MeTV Toons. But I discovered that our zip code, it's not, and this is what's crazy. Our zip code is not that of Sacramento, Modesto, and Stockton. No, our zip code is for Fresno. Yeah, our zip code is for Fresno. Yeah, even though we get all the things related to the Stockton, Modesto, Sacramento region side of things, channels and all that, we're more connected over the airwise to Fresno. Go figure. Go figure. But anyway, to get to the point. Get to the point here. Basically, I go and I check off the box for Xfinity Comcast, to see the schedule. And what's interesting, what really kind of got my attention, is they didn't have the rest of the schedule lined up for the rest of that night, because usually they do. They usually have what's coming up next, right? It wasn't there. It wasn't there, so I'm thinking, something's up here, right? Something's up. So I also checked Friendly TV, and I noticed, well, wait a minute. That show is on, that's the same show that's on the cable right now. What's going on here? So what really was the kicker, is last night, before I turned off my TV, I go and I have MeTV Toons on, right? And I see that what's on at 1 a.m. in the morning is not one of the shows that should be on locally at 1 a.m. here on the West Coast, here in the Pacific time zone. Instead, I see a show that's on, on the East Coast. It's basically, airing currently on the East Coast at 1 a.m. The 4 a.m. show is being shown at 1 a.m. here on the West Coast. And that was Thunderbirds. And that, again, kind of confirmed to me, and that, again, kind of made me suspicious, but it also confirmed that it made me suspicious, like, okay, what's going on here? But then it kind of slowly dawned on me, like, oh, I think I know what's going on. Because even when I saw, like I said, Ninja Turtles at 9, at the 9 o'clock feed, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, they fixed it and everything, but I'm also thinking, well, wait a minute, if they fixed it, then, because I'll look on the guide, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, it said this at 12, right? Or something like that, to that point. At midnight, it said it was at midnight, the episode from last night. So I'm thinking it said at midnight, but I'm seeing it here, but I saw it here at 9. So again, I had my suspicions like, okay, something's up. But then, like I said, when I saw Thunderbirds before I turned off my TV, that's when I realized, oh, because again, I'm suspicious. I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right here. But then, like I said, it slowly dawned on me, like, oh, I think I know what's going on here. And then that's when I put a comment on the MeTVToons fan page on Facebook that it's, I said something along the lines of, it seems Xfinity is using the Eastern Time airings for the time being, or at least for now. And somebody, one of the first people to comment to me said, well, it's the first day, or was the first day. They're still, working out the kinks, the bugs, and all that. So, once they told me that, I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's what they're doing, and they're just using the Eastern Time feed to kind of just, just kind of give people something to watch, kind of like a temporary placement, a temporary placement, if you will, of shows until they fix things, adjust things and everything locally. But then somebody else commented and said, actually, that may not be the case because this is now on a national level and they go by the Eastern Time feed. So I'm thinking, okay, one person saying it's probably, kinks and everything being worked out and maybe we're going to get things eventually localized, right? But then I have somebody else saying, actually, it could be the fact that it's on a national level now and they're going by a different feed. Well, basically to confirm my suspicions, I went back to the MeTVToons webpage on my Fire HD tablet, Fire HD 10 tablet. I went back onto the, MeTVToons webpage, went to where to watch, put in my zip code, and everything. Clicked on the box, checked the box off for Xfinity Comcast, channel 1736. Did that, and what I saw, because I woke up around 7, a little after 7, what I saw was it said 7 a.m. Pacific, Real Ghostbusters, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, Beetlejuice, or 7:30 a.m. PT, Beetlejuice, and 7 a.m. PT, Real Ghostbusters. So I'm looking at that, but what I see instead when I turned on the TV was Casper and Company. And then that's when it dawned on me. Like, yep, what I suspected could be the reason, because again, I felt something was a little off, but when I saw Thunderbirds, I kind of like, again, like I said, I felt like something was off, but then I slowly realized, I was slowly telling myself, well, I think I know what's going on here, but again, I wasn't sure. Because usually around 3 a.m., around the 3 a.m., 4 o'clock, or the 3 a.m., 4 a.m. hour, Xfinity, and I'm sure a lot of you dealt with this too, around the 3 a.m., 4 a.m. hour, Xfinity likes to do updates to the cable system and everything. So the cable goes off for about, I would say, 15 minutes at most, 15 to 20 minutes at most, right? So it goes off. They do that, just to, I guess, update the firmware, update any new channels and everything they're going to add on, like they did with MeTVToons, so on and so forth. So they're just using those 15 to 20 minutes to do all that, right? So my thought is, okay, once that happens, things should be okay. They'll be localized. Nope. Because like I said, when I saw Casper and Company was on, and then I go to the web page and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I see that, from a local perspective, it's supposed to be something else. That's again when my suspicion became, confirmed. It became confirmed, and then again, like I mentioned, I looked at the comment section on Facebook, of the topic of the question, or the topic, or the topic I basically put on there, the post I put on there, and basically what that one person said, and again, it all started to be confirmed to me in a big way. But to further make sure whether or not it was a glitch, I go to Google. And I ask the question, is MeTVToons Xfinity going off the Eastern Time feed? And the answer I got, yes. Because it's on a national feed now. It's on a national feed. It's on a national provider. Thus, they're going to go off of their own time feed, their own schedule. So instead of being, at local time and giving us what's supposed to be from a local perspective and everything, show-wise, instead we're going to be getting the Eastern feed. That's right. So in other words, basically, long story short, ladies and gentlemen, if you live here in California, and you're expecting to wake up at 7 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. and you're getting yourself ready for school, getting yourself ready for class at your college or university, getting ready for work, either at home or just down the road or in another town, but you still have plenty of time to kill, so you're going to turn on MeTV Toons expecting, oh, I'm going to see Ghostbusters, or I'm going to see Beetlejuice, and instead you see Casper. And you ask yourself what's going on, right? You ask yourself what the hey? Well, the answer is real simple. It's because of the fact that instead of doing the right thing, locally, and allowing the shows that are scheduled locally to be aired, Xfinity Comcast decides, yeah, we're going to give you MeTV Toons, and we thank Xfinity Comcast for that, for making this arrangement, this deal happen. But the catch is they're going to use the national feed, which is the Eastern Time feed, which is the feed that Friendly TV gets. It's the feed that Philo gets. It's the feed that DirecTV streaming and DirecTV, linear channels, if you will, get. Basically, the regular DirecTV channels get. The packages and all that. You are getting basically the shows as they're airing on the East Coast. That's right. You're getting the shows as they are airing on the East Coast right now, if you live on the West Coast. And heck, same with the Mountain, same with the Central. You are getting them all at the same time. And why is that? Because that's how things have worked out. I guess that's the deal they worked out. It's like Xfinity Comcast said, yeah, we love having these guys on board, but here's the condition. We want to do the same thing DirecTV did and have it all at a singular time, not separate. Not realizing that by going separate, it makes things less confusing. It doesn't make things confusing, it makes it less confusing. Especially when people go to the MeTV Toons website, click on the where to watch, put the zip code in, see something different, they're supposed to be, that they're saying it's supposed to be airing, and instead you get something else. But yeah, that's why, if you were confused yesterday, if you were wondering, okay, what's going on, that's why, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting shows at, that are basically Eastern Time Zone shows instead of the shows we're supposed to get locally. That's what we're getting. Instead of getting, like I said, at 7 a.m. and 7:30 a.m., 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m., instead of getting real Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice back to back, on this network, on this channel, instead you're getting Casper and Company because that's how it's worked out. And I guess they're thinking, it's less confusing, everybody gets to watch it all all simultaneously, we're good to go. Okay, fine, not a big deal. I mean, it is. Like DirecTV, it is a national. It is a very popular, very beloved. Probably the numero uno, if you will, cable outlet in the country, if not by extension the world, but mostly the country. So it's understandable that maybe from their point of view, it's easier to have people watching the shows, or watching the same shows, watching the same cartoons all at the same time, instead of mixing it up. Now, from what I understand, the difference between national and local is that those over-the-air networks, like let's say KMAX 31.6, they have the power to adjust the schedule to what they like. Basically, they have the power to say, hey, if Real Ghostbusters is meant to come on at 7:30 Pacific time, we're going to make that happen instead of being a simulcast all a simulcast all across the board, if you will. So that's basically the big difference here when it comes to over the air and national. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised nobody mentioned this when Dish Network got it. Well, not Dish Network, but DirecTV got it, because you would think this would be a big deal. A lot of people are expecting, okay, we're getting the channels, we're finally getting this channel and everything, exactly where we want it, on DirecTV and now Xfinity. We're all thinking, hey, it's going to be, based on all local time zone, right? Nope. It's going to be more, it's going to be more of the streaming situation. It's going to be more of the streaming outlets, if you will. Not streaming, but I'm sorry, I just got distracted. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. I also looked outside my windows. Our neighbor's cat's just walking around. I thought she was going to do her business on our lawn. I do apologize for that. But anyway, basically, we're all thinking, and I'm sure you're thinking, man, is he going off track here? What's going on? I do apologize. Like I mentioned earlier, it's early. I just woke up a little while ago, still waking up, so I do apologize. But anyway, to get back on track, basically, you're thinking, you would think, like I mentioned earlier, somebody would have said something, right? They would have been like, hey guys, for those of you expecting MeTV Toons on DirecTV to be localized based on where you live, think again. They're going with the streaming platform. They're going with the streaming schedule. They're going by the Eastern schedule. You think somebody would have said that, but in the Facebook group page I'm a part of, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I didn't see that on the Twitter, aka X.com, MeTVToons news and updates page, either. I didn't see a tweet or anything stating that DirecTV is doing its feed is the national Eastern feed. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Nor did I see it with Xfinity Comcast. They didn't come out and say, yeah, this is the feed you're going to get. You're going to get the national Eastern feed. I didn't see that. So hopefully hopefully someone has said something, along those lines that, yeah, this is what you're going to be getting. That, yeah, it's confusing and all that, but this is what you're going to be getting instead. So basically, think along the lines of using Friendly TV and Philo and Fubio and all that, and any of the streaming alternatives of DirecTV and Dish. Think along the lines of, that's the schedule you're getting. That's the schedule you're getting, and all that. So, yeah. The only thing that needs to be done in the end, the only thing that needs to be done in the end is for MeTVToons, to update the Where to Watch schedule so that it reflects, the schedule that Xfinity Comcast is going off of. That instead of confusing people and having them think it's, they're going to see something different and then they see something else, MeTVToons needs to fix that, and they need to fix it right away. Heck, even Google, Gemini through Google, is even saying they need to do that. It'd be very helpful. So, but yeah, in the end, basically, long story short, guys, it's great that MeTVToons is on Xfinity. I'm happy about it. I'm so thrilled for it. I love the idea of being able to watch, classic nostalgic shows that I grew up on and everything, even in repeats during the 80s. But yeah, the only catch basically is now that it's on the national feed of Xfinity Comcast, just like with DirecTV before it, basically you're going off of the Eastern time zone. So in other words, if you're expecting something, else based on your local time zone, don't consider seeing that, or don't even think about that. That's what you're going to see. Instead, if you want to know exactly what you were going to see, I would say skip checking off the Xfinity Comcast box and go to the Friendly and Philo boxes, and you'll see the schedule that they're going off of right now. You'll see that. And again, MeTVToons, they need to update this so it's less confusing. I'm pretty sure it's confusing to them. I'm sure they're probably finding out right now. Oh, wait a minute. So you're saying that basically Xfinity Comcast, and DirecTV, because even DirecTV had this. Yeah. You go and check off the box for DirecTV, the regular package, the non-streaming stuff for DirecTV. You go there, and they have the same thing as Xfinity Comcast. So they need to update that where to watch section in the on the in the website. They need to check that off and basically, long story short, ladies and gentlemen, basically make it less confusing, as I said earlier, for a lot of folks, because people are going to think they're seeing one thing and then they're going to realize, nope, they're not. So until they get that fixed, like I mentioned, go off of the Friendly TV Philo, schedules, if you will. Go off those, check those off, check those boxes off. Go off of that. Base your watch time, your watch list, and everything. Base it off of that. Don't base it, ladies and gentlemen, don't base it on localization through Xfinity Comcast. That's not the case, unless you got it over the air. Instead, base it on the Friendly and Philo and even the streaming portions of DirecTV and Dish Network. And Dish Network is even more confusing because obviously the majority, from what I found out from Google, is Dish Network is the same way. They are national, but it all depends on who you contact. Because if you contact someone at Dish Network and they say, oh yeah, no problem, we can do this for you, then you could probably get it localized. But the majority is just the same thing. It's the national feed. So if I'm MeTV TOONS, I'm regular broadcasting, I would get on the ball. I would get things fixed right now, on the where to watch area. So that way people understand that when you go and watch it through Xfinity Comcast, when you go go and watch it through that, or any of the cable outlets, because I guarantee you, when Verizon Physio and AT&T, I guarantee you when they end up getting, when they get, MeTV Toons on their lineup, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to go with the national feed. Now they could do one better and say, hey, we'll work it out to where people get it locally. They'll get the local feed and not the national feed. That could put them up a step, over Xfinity when it comes to MeTV Toons. But more than likely they're going to go, ladies and gentlemen, more than likely they're going to go with the national feed, just like Comcast Xfinity did, and a lot of these other cable outlets have probably done as well. But yeah, in closing, like I said, if you're gonna check off any of the boxes on the where to watch based on where you live, check off the Friendly and Philo. Base your watching off of that. When it comes to Xfinity Comcast, channel 1736, base it off the Friendly. Base it off what you read about with Friendly and Philo. Base it off that until they fix things, on the website. But that's all I'm going to say, guys. Again, I do apologize if I sound a little, out there at times. I got a little distracted, like I said. As I mentioned, I just woke up a little while ago, still kind of waking up and everything. Heck, I haven't even made my bed yet. Just to let you know how long it's been since I woke up. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here, and again, like I said, I apologize if I was all over the place due to that. But I just wanted to come on here, let you guys in on this to why you are seeing something different instead of what you should be seeing locally, and that the only way you can watch it locally is through over the air. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know, and that's really about it. But let me know what your thoughts are if you haven't already in the comment section. If you haven't already in the live chat, I should say. Let me know how you feel about this in the comment section. Love to hear your opinions. And do you believe that basically, basically, one or two things have to happen? Either Xfinity, Comcast has to work it out locally with all their stations across the country to get things localized, or do you think more than likely MeTV Toons, I should say, should update the where to watch section of the website so it's less confusing? Because again, the only way you know what's going to be happening is if you check on the Friendly and Philo TV checkboxes, if you will, in the website, in the where to watch section of the website, and that's how you'll know what's coming on Xfinity Comcast. And not just Xfinity Comcast, but DirecTV as well. But yeah, just thought I'd come on and tell you guys about that. And like I said, I do apologize if I was all over the place. Like I said, it's early. I'm still waking up and all that. So, as well as I apologize for being distracted and everything. Seeing a neighbor's cat sniffing around on your grass and potentially wanting to do their business. Of course, you're going to want to basically try to open the door and scamper them off and make sure they don't do that. But anyway, I do apologize. But let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, if you haven't already in the live chat, let me know how you feel about this, your opinions and everything in the comment section. And if you still want to donate, but you didn't get it here in time for the live video premiere, the super thanks option, which is the heart with the dollar sign, that's going to be open in just a bit, so you can do your donation through that if you want to. Also have a Venmo and a Cash App if you want to help out there, because they appreciate it. And Patreon, like I said, check that out for future content as well before anybody else sees it, which will be between 24 and 48 hours before anybody else once it gets uploaded. And you'll know when it gets uploaded, because when I upload it here to YouTube, I'll have it on Premiere, but in the title I'll say watch it 48 hours, or watch it on Patreon 48 hours before, 24 hours before it debuts on YouTube. So yeah, I'm just letting you know about that if you want to support me in those areas as well. And guys, as I said at the beginning, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and click on the link in the description to find my content elsewhere and to support me elsewhere as well. But guys, that's all I'm going to say on it. Let me know again what your thoughts are, and until then, I am out.